Hi, I'm Ginzburg with Genball.net, and I have Steven Rosenberg here. How's it going, Steven?
Going green. How are you, Gene?
I'm doing very well, thanks. I wanted to talk about motivation and commitment, and I think what we should do is we should actually do a series about that. And I want to talk about the power of the mastermind and shiny object syndrome, but we'll talk about that all in other series in the other videos that we're going to do as part of the series. But today I wanted to talk about commitment and motivation. A couple weeks ago, I just came back from a conference, and it was mostly geared towards small to medium-sized businesses and people who are looking to start a business or who have recently just started a business. And the one thing that I have noticed is that a lot of times these entrepreneurs, they talk about, how much money do I need to start a business, my expertise. And I think those things are very important, but I think one of the main important pieces of this is motivation and commitment. Of course, you want to be an expert in what it is that you're doing. Of course, you have to have a little bit, at least a little bit of funds to get started, but staying motivated and staying positive and being committed to your business, I think, is more important sometimes than all the other 2 points that I mentioned about, having funds and being an expert.
I think
And
more
one of the things that I heard somebody,
combined.
oh, go ahead. Sorry,
No, I was just
Stephen.
gonna agree. Like, I think it's more important than those combined. Like having the commitment. I mean, because you can be an expert in something, but how quickly technology is changing things, you might be an expert, but like Facebook or Snapchat comes out with a new platform, and it's totally different. I mean, everybody starts from ground zero then. So I'm just agreeing with your statement. Continue.
Yes, yes. Thank you. And yeah, one of the things that I think is just extremely important is to believe in yourself. Because nobody else will. And yeah, it's just important to keep that in mind. Is that it's sometimes hard to stay motivated and committed in the face of adversity. I mean, we are all small business owners and entrepreneurs, and we've all had to go through adversity. We all had to, go through points where clients would leave us or our sales would be down, whatever it is. But it's important to stay motivated in those stages, especially, and to believe in yourself, especially. And one point I wanted to point out is that I heard somebody say, like, talk about commitment, and one of the examples he gave was about commitment to children, right? So you have children, and you automatically have that commitment. So it's not something that you have to choice really about. I mean, unless you decide not to have children. But once you have a child, you're automatically committed to them. So it's kind of the same concept in your business, right? Like, if you are committed to it, you will see the growth, you will see the success and the achievement that you wanted for your business. So what are your thoughts, Stephen?
Yeah, so I think that you nail it on the head, and I'm trying to think of the exact example, but I've had to explain it to whether it's friends or family or anything like that. When running a business, you have to make so many sacrifices, and the best analogy over the last 7 years I've been able to come up with to compare it so that people understand why you have to do that day in and day out. It's like having a child. I mean, I don't have a child, but what I'm saying is that you have to be so dedicated to it, and it's nonstop, and it is your top priority as a parent. You're not gonna let your kid run out in the middle of the street because it's inconvenient for you to go take them out of this. I mean, you have to deal with it all the time, 24/7, and especially in the world we live in. But yeah, I think it's something that is partly internalized within you as a person, whether you're an entrepreneur or not. And I think another part of it is something that you is like a muscle that you can build over time, you know. But it worries me when new companies are starting out or entrepreneurs are starting out and they get so discouraged so early on. I mean, like they've been running it for 6 months and something doesn't go their way and they're like, well, should I stop? And I'm like, if you're even asking yourself that question 6 months into it, like that's not a good sign. So, being 100% committed and understanding things are not going to go your way, whether you have all the funding in the world or not, is not going to answer your question. Obviously, having all the funding in the world opens you up to tons of more resources and everything like that, but but the 95% of us do not have unlimited funding to just, go out there and do this. So I think the commitment aspect of it is by far the most important. I think the keeping yourself motivated, that's something I still, to be very honest and transparent, it's still something I deal with every single day. Until you're a super multi-gajillionaire and know that what you're doing is successful and is helping millions of people, is that's different. But like when everybody's looking at you like you're crazy, but inside you're on the right path, to stay motivated with that every day it's not easy. I mean, I don't think it's easy. It's still not easy for me. I've gotten better at it. I've flexed the muscles enough times and been rejected enough times that I deal with it, but it's not easy. I mean, do you feel like it's gotten easier? Do you feel like it's is it still something that you have to, deal with every day?
Yes, I do have to deal with that every day, and to some degree. Some days, some days are better than others.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have that point where I sometimes, when I'm maybe going through a lull in my business, it is hard to stay motivated. There's of course key performance indicators that I have in my business. Whether it's revenue or getting new clients, that keeps me positive when those key performance indicators are met or exceeded. But there are times during the year, and I actually have a couple of times of the year in my business, and it's usually during the summer, and then usually between about Thanksgiving and about January 15th, where things would get really slow for me from like gaining new clients perspective.
Yep.
I mean, I'm still working with my current clients at that point, but people at that time usually kind of shut down from a growth
Yep.
and you
Yep.
know, working with new vendors kind of perspective, because during the summer they're on a lot of times they're on vacation or their kids are on vacation, so they're kind of in just maintenance mode. And same thing with around the Christmas holiday season, same thing, just they're already set up their campaigns for the holiday season, and then they're pretty much in maintenance mode until about January 15th, when people start waking up from that from that slumber.
Yep.
So I do experience that, and I think that's why it's very important for us to do this series and talk about
Yep.
motivation and commitment. And one of the key points that I wanted to point out before we end this video is getting involved with people who are in the same entrepreneurial journey with you, and being around people who can understand you, and being around positive people, because a lot of times we have negative people in our lives and it really brings us down, and it brings our business down, and it brings our spirit down. And having those positive people, those people who are entrepreneurs who are going through the same journey, are extremely important. What do you think, Stephen?
I think that is the most key component to staying up and on top of everything. I agree with that completely. And maybe we can make that part of this series, is really trying to get other people that are in that boat to join in this conversation, to be a part of that, so that we can all be a support system. Because I think the more people that are a part of that, the stronger we can be as a unit, and that we can all then go off and individually succeed or stay motivated on our own time. I think that is a great idea, and I think this was a great first of the many to come series on this topic. I really enjoyed this, and I'm excited to see what comes of it.
Yeah, definitely. Great. Well, thanks so much for your time, Stephen. How can people
Absolutely.
get in touch with you?
Yeah, definitely go to my YouTube page. It's Stephen T. Rosenberg. Instagram at Stephen T. Rosenberg. And of course, StephenTRosenberg.com. I'm
Awesome.
Thanks so much, Gene.
Yeah, and you can get in touch with me by going to my YouTube channel, Gene Ginzburg, and then also by my website, ginball.net, GINEALL.net. Thanks so much, Stephen.
Have a green day.